Well, today we're going to talk about William Carey and the modern missions movement. We're going to try to summarize some things that we have been alluding to, and then I'm going to give you the review for the midterm exam. I understand it's late. Unfortunately, we've had 3 deaths this week in the church, so I apologize for that. I will not hold it against you, and I hope you won't hold it against me. Okay, William Carey. Now, William Carey is an interesting individual. Um, he was self taught, but he had a real heart for missions. The missionary enthusiasm was really a result of the Pietist and the Methodist and the evangelical thought among the Anglican Church, this whole revivalism that was going on. People wanted to convert others to the same joyous relationship with the Lord that they had. And with nations becoming more Christian, with the expansion of people traveling around the world, you had missionary explorers like David Livingstone and Greenfeld and Kraft and all those other people showing the needs of the world in Africa. You had the theology of the Reformation, the importance of the individual's relationship to God, um, and that was the motivating force for missions. After the Second Great Awakening, 1792 to 1830, all these benevolent societies were formed in Europe and in America for doing mission work and addressing certain social needs. Those set the stage for someone like William Carey. Now, there were numerous missionary societies, and the Baptist Missionary Society was founded in Kettering, England, and was initially the fund of a little over, 13 pounds. As a result of the vision of William Carey, 1761 to 1834 is when he died, Baptist and other churches in England began to send missionaries. And he would form, he taught himself several languages. But it was a pamphlet that he wrote in 1792 that influenced Baptist and other churches in England to actually send out missionaries. He founded a college, and he proposed in 1810 at a conference at Cape Town to foster education in cooperation with missions. Carey went to India, where he managed an Indio factory to earn a living until he moved to a Danish province in 1800. Now, a letter from Carey resulted in the founding of the London Missionary Society and the Congregationalists in 1795. John Philip, David Livingstone, Robert Moffat, John Mackenzie, persuaded the British government to annex the Bechuanaland to protect the natives from the exploitation of the Boer colonists. So, but one of the things that really makes William Carey the father of the modern missionary movement was he had a motto, and it's a great motto. Expect great things from God. Attempt great things for God. Let me say that again. Expect great things from God, attempt great things for God. Now, if I were making out a test and I was going to add a bonus question, I would probably add a bonus question like this. What was William Carey's motto? And of course, you would reply, expect great things from God, attempt great things for God. So, William Carey began to challenge denominations, churches, to actually fund and send missionaries. Now, why is this different? Well, if I were to do a comparison and contrast between the mission efforts before the Second Great Awakening and the missionary efforts after the Second Great Awakening, most of what we saw from the Crusades on about missionary efforts, they were more concerned about colonization than they were evangelism. Now, every charter coming to the New World here in America had some missional statement added to it. The Roman Catholic Church, for example, when they were expanding to increase their area of influence, to increase their trade routes, to benefit their nation. Missions was just a secondary outcome from all that expansion. And they were really more concerned about making these new worlds, these new areas, more like them. We see it in the Spanish missions. We see it in the Portuguese missions. We see it in the French missions. And yes, we even saw it in the American missions. When England came to America, they were really trying to colonize the New World for England. Now, is it true that there were some good and godly people who came for the right reasons for evangelism? Absolutely, there were. But it was seen almost as a part of colonization. However, after William Carey, it seemed to be, and going back to the theology of the Reformation, it's the individual who is responsible for God, for his relationship. And that makes it our responsibility to go and share the gospel. So after William Carey, you really began to see this movement come about. So people began to pick up on this idea of William Carey of actually sending people to parts of the world for the sole purpose to evangelize that people. They weren't worried about establishing a colony for America. They weren't concerned about planting a national flag. They were concerned about the souls of the individuals. And that is a major shift in the desire for missions. It is not a governmental thing, it is a spiritual thing. It is not political, it is religious. And at that time, William Carey kind of galvanized what everybody else was feeling. So to kind of summarize things that were going on, everything is building up to this. Before the Second Great Awakening, when the church, either the Roman Catholic Church or the Anglican Church or Lutheran Church, they were looking at missionaries as doing a twofold duty. One of carrying the national flag or the culture and colonizing a foreign people and bringing in religion into that. Now, sometimes it appeared that they used religion as the door to enter, but ultimately they were trying to establish a colony, and they wanted to have the converts speak their language, albeit Spanish or Portuguese or French. But after the Second Great Awakening, with everything they had been through, when they had seen the religious wars that broke out in Europe, when they went through the Protestant Reformation, and they were trying to get their theology right, and then there was the First Great Awakening, and there were people getting saved, and churches were being planted. And then the Second Great Awakening came after the Revolutionary War. Then it became a goal to reach the individuals for Christ, not the country for a colony, but it became a struggle to win the souls of mankind. And that was really, if I were to compare and contrast before and after, before you have missionary efforts wrapped up in the idea of making a colony, and then after the Second Great Awakening, after the influence of William Carey, the missionary enterprise had only one goal, and that was to reach the lostness of mankind. Now, as promised, I'm going to give you a review for your midterm so that you'll have a week to prepare for it, just so you will be ready. I've told you before that you can fail my course, but you will have to work really hard at it. Everything I give you as a review, you will see again. So if you'll study these things and know these things, then you will get a passing grade. All right. What is the missionary motif in the Old Testament? That's in your book. It's in my lecture notes. There are 3 things. I suggest you write these down. I will try to move slowly so you'll have enough time to write these down. You will see these again. What is the definition of missions? It has 2 parts. Our basic purpose, our basic task. Another question would be, what are the general factors affecting the expansion of Christianity in the ante-Nicene church? And there are 5 things that are listed. I would suggest you write these questions and then write the answers underneath them so that you have a ready way to answer them and to study them. What are the factors affecting the post-Nicene church? There are 6 things. And the first one of those 6 things is the same as before, the 5 previous things. I'm going to give you another second to write those down. What are some of the results of the crusade? I gave you 5 things. What are some of the results of the Crusades? Another question. What was the great omission in the Reformation? What was the great omission in the Reformation? What were the reasons for the great omission? And then I'm going to have you compare and contrast the missionary efforts before and after the Second Great Awakening. That's a discussion question. I answered that earlier in today's lesson. I'll give you another second to write those down. Now, be prepared to discuss the following people and their importance in the development of missionary thought. I understand that this list appears to be long, but I'm giving you some time in today's class for you to look those up. They're briefly discussed. You can also look those up in any Christian history book, and you can find some things about these individuals. But I want you to be able to discuss the following people and their importance in the development of missionary thought. There's John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe, who is known as the first to translate the Bible into English, but he also had a thought that was influential. The next was John Huss. Martin Luther, the reformer. Then there was Heinrich Zwingli. Heinrich Zwingli. Count Ludwig von Zinzendorf. Ludwig von Zinzendorf and the Moravians. Then there's John Leland. You won't find Leland in your book. You might find Leland in your book, but you'll find him in any history book. I included him because I thought it was important for you to understand, especially we as Americans to understand, that John Leland is directly responsible for our First Amendment. And that had an effect on the Second Great Awakening, and it had an effect on mission thought. Because if the government cannot restrict us, then it is solely a matter of conscience. John Leland. And then finally, William Carey. Now, you'll need to be able to discuss, 3 or 4 sentences at least on every one of these individuals. The more you write, the better I like it. And let me know that you know something about these individuals. Again, I'm giving you a little extra time in class this week. Today's lecture is not that long, but I did want to make sure that you have the review. On next week, there will be only 2 lectures, and then there will be the midterm exam. The midterm exam, you will need to email me by Sunday night at midnight, at the close of next week. And that will be March the 6th. Okay? Sunday night, March the 6th. Okay? You'll have to email that midterm exam to me by midnight, March the 6th. All right? Hope you have a great weekend. Get ready to study. Again, I'm sorry for the delay, but we were providentially hindered. May God bless you.